Hey, how's it going in the studio? I'm going to be talking about binder jetting and what that is. Binder jetting is additive manufacturing (AM) for 3D printing technology used to create objects by selectively depositing a binding material onto a bed of powder particles layered by layer. It's one of the several techniques in the field of additive manufacturing. What means we're gonna be adding material to, not removing, but adding to. If there's any basic information that I can perhaps share with everybody is to perhaps understand different techniques and perhaps ways of manufacturing. Some of those ways where I believe things should be moving is perhaps so if we were to develop perhaps or improve existing technologies, we can understand better where technologies are right now, how those machines do work right now, as well as how we can improve existing systems, how people came up with those particular ways of manufacturing, and perhaps we can improve some of those systems so we can have better ways of producing things, so perhaps cheaper, cost effective, fast in the time and matter, which yourself as the engineer can potentially offer a lot of value to the industry. By selectively depositing a binding material onto a bed of powder particles layer by layer, it is one of several techniques in the field of additive manufacturing and is often employed by producing metal, ceramics, and composite parts. Let's take a look at how this process generally works. Powder bed preparation. A thin layer of powder material, such as metal, sand, ceramics, or polymer, is spread evenly across the build platform. The powder bed acts as a canvas for 3D printing process. Inkjet printing. A print head moves over powder bed, depositing a liquid binding agent in precise pattern according to 3D model across sections. This binding agent acts as a kind of glue, but not necessary, bonding powder particles together in desired shape for that layer. uh, Perhaps reasoning of structuring certain sentence in this particular way it's just because of intellectual property rights and the way how people can patent different things as well as how they can manufacture certain things. So in this particular instance, if we were focused on additive as well as powder manufacture based, so we can manufacture different ways of even that you can manufacture and patent this particular method of manufacturing. So it just well, perhaps caveats. Why would people structure sentences in this particular order? Layer by layer building. After one layer is printed and bonded, the build platform is lowered by a layer's thickness and the process repeats. The printer continues depositing the binding agent and build up the object layer by layer until the entire 3D printing object is formed within the powder bed. Post-processing, once the printing process is completed, the object is typically still embedded into surrounding loose powder material. Post-processing steps may include removing excess powder, heat treatment, and additional finishing processes depending on the material and application. Binder jetting offers several advantages. Speed, it can be faster than some of the other 3D printing methods because it doesn't rely on heating or melting the entire build volume. Okay, worth mentioning, worth mentioning because some people, depending on the industry, would not necessarily like heat. It's just because of that. Yeah, so some people prefer different methods, which are understandable. Just one of the examples. material variety. It can work with a wide range of materials, including metals, ceramics, and polymers. Complex geometries. It's capable of producing complex and intricate geometrical geometries that might be challenging or impossible with traditional manufacturing methods. However, it also has some limitations, such as potentially lower material strain compared to some other additive manufacturing methods, and the need for post-processing to remove excess powder and achieve the desired surface finish. Binder jetting is used in various industries, including aerospace, automotive, healthcare, for medical implants and devices, and more. There, it can be applied to produce custom parts, prototypes, and production components with complex geometries. Some of the examples can include aerospace, producing lightweight and complex aerospace components such as brackets, ductwork, and even entire engine components. Which, if any of you know anything about manufacturing entire engines, not that many companies ever have done it. I believe there are a handful of companies within the entire world who can manufacture entire engine at once. A handful. Perhaps within the recent years there are more companies who can do it, but just perhaps about 5 years ago or so, there was perhaps just five or so, and I believe some of the craziest people out there who can actually try and accomplish that. I believe there's one that one most notable company that I can think of was from Italy, which is interesting. People out there who take such a big challenge. People who understand can understand how complex work can be, how hard it can be, especially working with metals, and what it will be required to manufacture entire engines at once. Yeah, just especially when we looking at perhaps with the next videos we can take a look at different manufacturing methods, and perhaps what would be most suitable method would be cast molding. That perhaps might be even better, especially when we think about manufacturing at scale. But in this particular instance, if we were focusing on binder jetting and how we can manufacture using that particular method. Those of you who would like to learn more about fitness and your health and where to begin, then venturing into more healthier lifestyle, I would highly recommend to purchase this book. The name of the book is Project Fit Flow. I have recently published this book. I can't wait to share this work, hard work that I put into this book, with every people who is interested in bettering themselves. In this particular book, I'm focusing on lifestyle, workouts, challenges, ways of thinking when it comes to perhaps your overall structure, that would be rest, hard, intense workouts, as well as eating habits, and all that information that I'm sharing with this in this book, I believe, can benefit a large percentage of people out there who like to learn more. You can find this book in the description below, as well as top retailers has it. Automotive, example of automated that will be manufacturing custom or low volume automotive parts, including engine components, breakers, and lightweight structures. A healthcare, example for healthcare would be creating patient specific medical implants, dental prosthetics, as well as orthopedic devices. Tooling and manufacturing examples would be producing complex molds, dies, and jigs for manufacturing processes. That definitely could be beneficial. I can only imagine how much value there is up there in the industry, and depending on how your experience as well as industry that you are in, how much money there are there. there's tens and thousands, tens of thousands of you are very good at doing any of those tasks. You can do your own homework, and doing some research if you're something that you might be interested in manufacturing and producing molds. There's a lot of potential there. For those of you who are interested or perhaps would like to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. It's something that I could always offer advice on, as well as I'm sharing all the information in the books that I have published. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.